Hi and welcome to Healing Girl Diaries. My name's Jade and I'm on a mission to help girls heal from within so that they can live with more peace, more freedom, and more alignment with their true selves. This podcast is all about teaching you how to actually heal through education, personal stories, and lots of practical tools. Today's episode is all about belief systems. We will talk through what they are, where they come from, some common ones that a lot of us struggle with, and most importantly, I will teach you a practical 5-step method that will actually change your beliefs and rewire your subconscious mind. There's going to be lots of examples, and this episode will change your life. So let's get into it. Let's start by explaining what belief systems are, and then I'll talk about how they are formed. So belief systems are the core principles, values, and ideologies that a person holds. So it's basically all those things that we believe to be true about ourselves and the world. So some simple examples. You might believe that you are intelligent, or you might believe the opposite, that you are stupid. You might believe that you are pretty, or you might believe that you are ugly. So these are beliefs about us and form something called our self-concept. So this is whatever we believe about ourselves. Then we also hold beliefs about the world and how it works. So some examples of that would be believing that the world is a dangerous place, believing that people are untrustworthy, believing life is hard, or good things don't last, or nothing in life comes for free, believing men are trash, literally anything and everything you think to be true. And our beliefs affect everything. They affect how we show up in our everyday life. They affect our behavior, the actions we take, and all the choices that we make. So, for example, if you believe that you are intelligent, this may mean that you are more likely to study for that test and put effort into your schoolwork because you think you will end up doing well and getting rewarded. You'll be more likely to apply for that better university or go for the higher paying job because you know you're worthy of getting it. It also may mean that you carry yourself better. You may walk into a networking conference with more confidence and go up to that successful CEO to introduce yourself. Even if you ended up getting rejected from that job, or that CEO is rude and talks down to you, you'll just think, oh, maybe that job just wasn't meant for me and something better will come along. Or maybe that guy is just having a bad day or he has a big ego. Rather than thinking something bad about yourself or that it was your fault, you will still feel very secure in yourself and your intelligence. So this is an example of a positive belief system and how it affects your behavior. Now let's take a negative belief. Let's say you believed men are trash, even though you would probably love to be in a relationship, but because you believe men are trash, you won't even put yourself out there. You won't go on the dating apps. You'll say no when a guy asks you out. And when you do say yes and the date ends up being terrible, you have an emotional meltdown after and take 3 to 5 days to recover mentally. You end up speaking so much about how all men are terrible that some of your friends who are in healthy and loving relationships end up distancing themselves from you because they just don't want to be around that negative energy and bad vibes. You end up losing those friendships. And because you believe men are trash, it makes you so oblivious to the fact that your kind and sweet coworker has a massive crush on you and he would make the ideal partner. But you just don't notice it because you are so consumed with that belief. So this is how beliefs really do affect our everyday lives so clearly. And as you can see, all our behaviors and actions are dictated by your beliefs. And the thing about these beliefs is that we take them as facts about ourselves and the world, absolute truths about how things are. And I've talked about this in the last podcast episode, but the biggest thing I want you to take away is that our external world is a reflection of our internal world. So whatever we believe to be true internally, we will see this being reflected in our outside world. So for example, if you did believe that you are pretty, you will see this in your life. Like you will receive lots of compliments about your looks. You'll get asked out and receive lots of validation for your beauty. But if you believe that you are ugly, then you won't get the validation. You may be made fun of for your looks or feel like everyone gets asked out except for you. And then if you believed about the world that people are untrustworthy, then you will be constantly let down by people. People will con you and betray your trust. But if you believe that you could rely on others, then you will probably have very secure and healthy relationships. People will be so kind and constantly helping you out, and you will feel safe around them. So this is how our internal beliefs really do get reflected back to us in our external reality. And because these beliefs are constantly being reflected back to you, it just makes you believe in them more because they are being reaffirmed. Like you might be saying, Jade, of course I'm ugly. People keep making fun of my looks, so I must be ugly. But I'm saying to you that no, it's the other way around. It's because that you believe you are ugly that people keep making fun of your looks. And if you had the exact same appearance, but you believed that you were pretty, then this wouldn't happen. It's actually nothing to do with your appearance and everything to do with what you believe. Nothing is a fact. It is about whatever you believe to be true. And the amazing thing is that our beliefs are not fixed. It is so possible to change them. We can start to believe good things about ourselves and the world, things that will actually serve us and get reflected back to create a better external reality. So change your beliefs and this will change your life. And if all of this is completely new to you, then please take a moment to wrap your head around this. I know some of you out there might be skeptical. It might take a lot to understand that it is your internal beliefs that are running your whole life, because we have been brought up to always look outwards rather than inwards. I'm sure you can bring me plenty of evidence for your beliefs that you think, I'm definitely stupid because I failed on my exams and I can't get a job. And how could what you believe affect your academic performance on an exam? People are either clever or they're not. And I get that, I really do. I'm not saying that you changing that belief will mean you become an A-star student and start acing all of your exams. That could happen. But what is more likely is that you will definitely start performing better because you have more self-belief. But maybe you realize passing an exam doesn't affect your intelligence. And there are so many types of intelligence out there. Maybe you start to realize your strengths and talents. And instead of self-sabotaging, you go after your dreams because now you believe that you can achieve them. And you start to love who you are rather than feeling ashamed of yourself. To really change your life, it is all about looking inwards. You can try and change your external reality as much as possible, but unless you work on your beliefs, nothing will really change. You are only limiting yourself by keeping these negative beliefs. There is a world where you have positive beliefs and reach your full potential. Take your power back and start deciding who you actually want to be. Now, before we learn how to rewire your beliefs, I want to talk about how your belief systems are formed and where our beliefs come from. So most of our beliefs come from our childhood. When we come into this world as babies, we don't know anything about it. So between the ages of 0 and 7, our brains are like sponges, just absorbing everything around us. And because everybody had different upbringings, it means we will all have different beliefs. So the things that we heard and saw, the things our parents told us, all influence our belief systems. If you grew up in a home where love had to be earned through achievement or being good, you might carry a belief like, I have to be perfect to be loved. Or if your caregivers had a fearful relationship with money, you might have picked up the belief that there's never enough. In my childhood, my parents worked a lot. They were building a successful business so that they could provide for their kids. But as children, we can't understand the logic behind this, or most of the time it's not even explained to us. So I felt as if my parents weren't around to spend time with me. So I developed the belief that I'm not important. Of course, my parents don't actually think this, and it was never their intention, but subconsciously it was what I picked up. And the thing is, we picked up so many beliefs between the ages of 0 and 7, and then carry these with us our whole lives. So you could be age 50 still running on the beliefs from age 5. Our beliefs are also influenced by our culture and society. The people in different countries and from different cultures or religions will have different beliefs. You might have internalized societal beliefs about beauty standards, success, showing emotion. I had a lot of emotions as a kid and I threw tantrums in order to get attention and have my needs met. But because my parents didn't know how to handle this, I developed beliefs around it being shameful to show emotions, or having emotions makes you bad or crazy or dramatic. And there's also lots of societal conditioning about gender roles and women being inferior. And also trauma massively affects our belief systems. When we go through something painful or overwhelming, we often form beliefs in response to survive it. Things like, I can't trust anyone, or being seen is dangerous. And the first step in changing our beliefs is to become aware of them. And knowing where our beliefs come from is very useful for this. Now, I want to make you aware of 5 common belief systems that a lot of us have about ourselves. So number 1, unfortunately, a lot of girls believe I'm not good enough. This is definitely something I battle with, and I know it's deeply ingrained in the majority of us. It's very universal because it can be developed in so many different ways. For me, it came from feeling like I constantly disappointed and upset my parents growing up and being compared to my brother, who I felt was so much better than me. And I know in a lot of cultures, girls are compared negatively to boys, which can develop this belief about not being good enough. And it can also be developed in so many other ways. It could be from feeling inadequate in school, not having enough friends, or from making any kind of mistake. And a lot of the time, you might not be consciously thinking you're not good enough. It might show up in other ways through perfectionism, comparison, self-doubt. You might always be thinking, why me? Or why do I always miss out? You might be chasing impossible standards or feeling like love has to be earned. It's such a disempowering belief system that holds so many of us back. And it just isn't true. You are enough just by being you. You don't need to be anything more. And I've worked really hard to rewire this belief, and I'm going to teach you how to do the same. Now, number 2. One of the most painful and surprisingly common belief systems that a lot of girls carry, often deep down, is the belief that I'm a bad person. It can be hard to even admit it, but it's something that shows up in so many subtle ways. Constantly feeling guilty, over apologizing, people pleasing, or even self-sabotage. This belief often forms in childhood, especially if you were blamed for things, made to feel responsible for other people's emotions, or grew up in a home where mistakes weren't met with understanding and compassion. It can also come from certain religious or cultural environments where shame was used to control behavior. And over time, we start to confuse making a mistake with being a mistake. And instead of trusting our own goodness, we spend our lives trying to prove we're worthy or lovable. But the truth is, you're not bad. You were just made to feel like your full human self wasn't acceptable. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has bad behavior. It doesn't make you a bad person. And healing begins when you stop seeing yourself as broken and start seeing yourself as someone who was hurt and is learning to come back home to who they really are. And number 3, another belief that so many of us carry, often without realizing, is I don't matter or I'm not important. I spoke about this one I definitely had. This one usually does form in childhood when our emotional needs weren't met. We weren't seen, we weren't validated, and maybe you were the quiet one, the caretaker, or the easy child who didn't get much attention because you didn't cause any problems. Or maybe every time you tried to express your feelings, you were shut down, ignored, or made to feel like you were being dramatic. Over time, you learn to internalize the idea that your needs, your voice, even your existence just doesn't hold weight. And as adults, that belief can show up in all kinds of detrimental ways. Staying silent, putting everyone else first, or feeling invisible in relationships. But the truth is, you do matter. You always have. Your feelings are valid, your presence is valuable, and healing means starting to believe that, even if the people around you never showed it. So number 4, the next belief is I'm too much. This is one of those beliefs that quietly lives in a lot of us, especially if you were ever shamed for your emotions, your energy, your dreams, or your voice. Maybe you were told you were too sensitive, too emotional, too dramatic, too loud. Or maybe you just felt like your full self made other people uncomfortable. And when that happens enough times, you start to believe that shrinking yourself is the safer option. You hold back your opinions, water down your personality, and try not to take up too much space. But the truth is, you were never too much. You were just around people who couldn't hold the fullness of you. The right spaces, the right people, the healed version of you, they won't just accept who you are, they'll celebrate it. You're not too much. You're just enough exactly as you are. And the last common belief system, another really common one, especially for girls who grew up in high pressure or emotionally unavailable environments, is something like I have to achieve or I have to be good to be loved. And this can look like always chasing the next goal, needing constant validation, or feeling intense guilt when you rest or make a mistake. Maybe as a child you were praised when you did well, but ignored or criticized when you didn't. Or maybe being good was how you kept the peace in a chaotic home. Over time, you start to tie your worth to performance, to grades, productivity, how kind or accommodating you are. But this belief can leave you feeling like no matter what you do, it's never enough. And the truth is, you're allowed to exist without performing. You're allowed to rest, to mess up, to just be and still be worthy of love. You were never put on this earth just to be useful, impressive, or perfect. You're already worthy just by being you. And our beliefs keep us stuck. We are constantly looking for evidence to prove and reaffirm the belief, even if it's hurting us. We live our lives in cycles where we prove the belief and then maybe feel ashamed about it. For example, if you get into relationships where it all feels amazing at the start, but because you don't believe that you deserve love, you unconsciously self-sabotage and push your partner away, which leads to the end of the relationship. And then your subconscious mind thinks, oh yes, we've proved it. Of course we don't deserve love. But also you might be feeling really ashamed that you pushed that person away and really sad that another relationship hasn't worked out, thinking, why does this always happen to me? And will I ever find the one? And this cycle will be ongoing unless you get to the root of it and actively start changing your beliefs. Another common one is seeing girls always getting cheated on and being stuck in that cycle. They end up thinking, why does this always happen to me? But it's all to do with belief systems. And any belief that is negative or holding us back is called a limiting belief. And now let's get to the part that you've all been waiting for. We're going to learn how to change and rewire these limiting beliefs. I'm going to teach you my 5-step method. So step 1 is to identify the belief that is holding you back. So you can either think of a specific cycle that you've been stuck in, maybe in your relationships, or start with any recent situation where you felt triggered and affected by something. And what I want you to do is to journal. Handwrite this in a book or just type it out on your notes app. Start by describing what happened and then just keep asking yourself why until you get to the core belief. So some prompts you can use are, why did this affect me? How did I feel? What does this mean about me? What am I believing about myself? The trick is to keep going beyond the surface and the situation itself. Keep asking why and why again until you get to the belief. So let me give you some examples to demonstrate this. So example number 1, let's say the situation was that your friend didn't invite you to something and you felt hurt and excluded. You would journal asking how it made you feel, say that you felt rejected and embarrassed. Keep asking why you felt this way. So maybe you told yourself you're not fun enough to be included. Then keep asking, why do you think that? Maybe it's because you've always felt like you're on the outside of friend groups. And again, asking why. And maybe it's because growing up, you were the quiet one and often left out. Then asking, what does that mean about you? And you get to the core belief of I don't belong. So you can see that when you keep asking why, you will get to that core belief. And then example number 2 I'm going to give you is, say that you keep avoiding working on your business idea, even though you want it so badly. Journal again, asking how you feel, and maybe you felt guilty and frustrated, and then keep asking why you do this. And maybe you tell yourself you're probably going to fail anyway. Asking why do you believe you'll fail? Maybe because you've never done anything like this before. Asking what does that mean about yourself? And maybe deep down you don't trust yourself. And eventually you get to the core belief of I'm not capable. So through this step, we're going to keep digging until we identify the core belief. And once we've identified the belief, we're going to move on to step 2. Step 2 is all about reframing the belief. So first, we're going to figure out where it comes from, and then we will reframe it. So I want you to continue with the journaling, and we're going to find out where this belief comes from. So some journaling prompts you can use are, what memories are associated with this belief? When is the first time I felt this way? Who did I learn this from? So we're trying to find out why you got this belief. And from step 1, you might already have an idea where it came from. So from the first example I gave you, we found that growing up you were often quiet and left out, and that's why you felt you didn't belong. But then if we use the second example, we might need to do some more digging. So using those prompts, maybe we unlock memories from childhood where even when you thought you'd done a good job, your dad still criticized you and pointed out everything you'd done wrong. So of course you started believing, I'm not capable. And now we know where it comes from, let's reframe it. So this is all about changing the story and seeing the situation objectively. As children especially, we take everything so personally without understanding the context, other people's point of view, and what might be really going on. So we need to find objective reasons why this memory might be false. So from example 1, maybe it's not the fact that you didn't belong, but simply that you were hanging around the wrong people that didn't bring out your full self. Maybe they left you out because you were so quiet that they thought you didn't like them or even want to be included. And then can you think of anyone in your life where you do feel like you can be more of yourself and feel more connected to? Well, then you obviously do belong somewhere and it is safe for you to be yourself. So that's how we would reframe example 1. And then for example 2, some of you might be lucky enough to actually be able to have a calm conversation with your dad and explaining your point of view. Then he might be able to explain why he criticized you and that he never thought that you weren't capable. However, if you can't have that conversation, you can still reframe it by understanding that it was more about your dad than about you. He criticized you because that's what he learned to do for himself. It was him that didn't feel capable enough or worthy, and so he projected that onto you, as many parents do, when in fact you are completely capable. So reframing is all about seeing the situation through a different lens. And then if we can doubt that we perceived the situation correctly, then we can doubt that the belief is even true. I also want to point out that some people simply aren't able to access childhood memories and get to the root of the problem. And this is completely okay. You can still reframe a more recent memory or any kind of story that you have. So that's step 2, figuring out where the belief comes from and then reframing it. Let's now move on to step 3. Step 3 is all about clearing the old belief from your subconscious. So consciously, we may now understand that you are capable or you do belong. But if it's still in your subconscious mind, then it's still going to control your life. So to access your subconscious mind, you're going to use a tool called EFT tapping. And EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. And it's a simple but powerful way to rewire your brain and calm your nervous system. And what you do is you tap on specific energy points on your body. Think of it like acupuncture, but with your fingers. There are no needles involved, don't worry. And when you tap on these points on your body while speaking out loud about a limiting belief, like I'm not good enough, you send calming signals to your brain that help release the emotional charge attached to that belief. And over time, this weakens the old neural pathways, makes room for new, healthier beliefs. Basically, you're telling your subconscious, it's okay to let this belief go. And there are 9 main tapping points on the body, including the side of your hand, your eyebrow, under your eye, and your collarbone. But don't worry about memorizing them all right away. I would say the best way to learn the 9 points is to simply Google EFT tapping points or to follow along with a video. You'll pick them up really quickly, don't worry. And trust me, this is not complex. It's a very simple yet powerful tool in your healing journey. And I'll be making a whole episode about EFT tapping in future because it really did change my life. But for now, the simplest way to start is to follow along and copy a YouTube video. My favorite is a guy called Brad Yates. His videos are super easy to follow and he has loads for all different kinds of beliefs. So if I was using examples 1 and 2, I would search on YouTube, tap with Brad plus the belief. So tap with Brad, don't belong, or tap with Brad, not capable. And then just find a video that kind of resonates and relates to this belief and follow along. His videos are usually under 10 minutes. And if you did this every day for a month, you will definitely see differences in your life. But just start small, just try the video once and see how you feel. And it is very common through EFT tapping and throughout this whole 5-step method for emotions to come up. But this is such a good thing. It's all part of releasing the belief and it means it's working. So let yourself feel your feelings and release these emotions. Let yourself be angry or cry it out as much as you need to. You're processing some deep emotions from childhood. You have to remember this. It's so important to give yourself the space to heal. And even though it may feel uncomfortable in the moment, it's so worth it and it is really going to help speed up the process of changing your beliefs. And so that's step 3, all about EFT tapping. And then step 4 is about anchoring in your new belief so that it starts to feel natural in your body and your mind. So once we've cleared the old belief in step 3, it's time to choose the new one. The EFT tapping videos with Brad will start to help with this. And then there's also some tools you can use to amplify your new belief. So the first tool is using affirmations. They work best when they're very simple, specific, and repeated often. For example, if your old belief was I don't belong, you could use affirmations I belong exactly as I am, or the right people love me for who I am. And if you say these out loud every morning or write them down and stick them around your house, you could repeat them in the mirror or set it as your phone wallpaper. This will really help in anchoring in that new belief. And the second tool I'm going to give you is visualization. So you can spend a few minutes every day, maybe put a timer on your phone for 5 to 10 minutes after doing the EFT tapping video. So close your eyes and imagine yourself with that new belief. What would it look like? How would it feel? How would you carry yourself if you had that new belief? And using example 2, you would picture what it would look, feel, and sound like if you truly believed I am capable. What would that person be doing? How would she carry herself? Maybe you can see yourself working on your dream project, feeling so calm and confident. And then keep visualizing this to see that as your new reality. And then the third tool is to listen to hypnosis or subliminal tracks on YouTube. So you can search I am capable subliminal or I belong subliminal or whatever your belief is subliminal into YouTube. And then listen to these as you fall asleep. There's nothing you actively need to do, just listen to these. And these help to go into your subconscious mind and rewire it and make that new belief sink in deeper. And the key with these 3 tools is consistency. You have to remember that your brain has carried this belief for most of your life, so it takes consistency and repetition to teach it something new. You're teaching your brain that this new belief isn't just a nice idea, it's actually your new reality. It is who you are now. And then lastly, step 5 is all about taking aligned action. And this means doing small things in your real life that support and reinforce this new belief. So your brain learns by experience. So when you act as if the new belief is true, you build that trust and you create new evidence to back it up. So using example 1, your old belief was I don't belong, and the new belief is I belong exactly as I am. An aligned action might be, instead of distancing yourself, you reach out to a friend to make plans, or you join a new club that feels aligned with you, or you allow yourself to show up more authentically in conversations by talking about stuff you're actually interested in. And even if it feels uncomfortable at first, these small steps teach your nervous system that it is safe to be seen and included. And then, for example, 2, your new belief is that you are capable. So aligned action would be to spend some time working on your dream project or do something outside your comfort zone. Anything that reaffirms that you are capable and you can do anything. So now this new belief becomes who you are, not just something you say. And those are the 5 steps to changing your beliefs. So identifying, reframing, EFT tapping, anchoring in, and then taking aligned action. And like I said, you have to remember that your brain has been thinking this way your whole life. So it really does take repetition in order to rewire it, especially repetition of steps 3, 4, and 5. But if you do this, you will change your beliefs and you will heal from the past and it will change your life. So thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope that you can implement these 5 steps and change your beliefs. Remember that your beliefs are not fixed. You have the power to change them. So look within and start healing them today. The key takeaway is that your external world is a reflection of your internal world. And whatever you believe to be true will become true for you. And if this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with another girl so that we can all go on our healing journeys together. New episodes of Healing Girl Diaries drop every week, so please subscribe or follow. It means so much to me. And until next time, I'm sending you so much love and healing.